Hello, and welcome to Ardor 2 Devlog Episode 4. Last time I had a combat arena, but that's all there was to the game. Now the upgrade menu is done, as well as the campaign save file. The player can progress from arena to upgrade to arena, and so on. I can now string levels together into campaigns. Let's see how it works. Previously, I manually created cards via code during game launch. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Oh yes, good. Previously, I manually created cards via code during game launch. Now that a save file is going to keep track of the player's deck, I need a way to make a new deck when the player starts their campaign. In Ardor 1, I just had a big function where I typed out all the card data. This is the simplest approach, but while it works, it has limits. If your project needs to initialize a lot of custom data, writing it all out would get unwieldy. Also, if you're working as part of a team, anyone contributing would have to understand how to add to your written code. Not everyone on game dev teams are programmers, and forcing people to interact with code will create friction. Putting these things into an interactable interface is better, and fortunately, Godot makes this easy. Godot has a resource data type it uses for a lot of things, such as materials and meshes. Resources can be manipulated in the inspector without touching code, and they have some handy features built in, like saving and loading. Godot also allows you to create your own resource types, which is how I'm representing my decks. The interface is a little clunky, but people are working on improving it as I speak. Card Deck is a custom resource, and here it has 9 slots, each of which contains a card data resource. If I wanted my deck to have another card, I just add a slot and fill it with the data I want. Combat arenas are another good candidate for this approach. I'm going to have a lot of arenas, each with a different arrangement of enemies, and I need some way to store that data. Here's an example of my arena data resource, where I can add enemies and decide their positions. Every combat scenario in the game will be loaded from one of these. So, when a campaign is started, I load my deck data and create a save file using those cards. I've created the transitions into and out of combat, so our save file can now progress from level to level. And the cards in our save file can now be modified in the upgrade menu. The interface here is more robust than Ardor 1. The hitboxes for clicking on numbers update to their full size no matter how big, and the word plurals change based on numbers. Who knows if I'll keep that feature intact for every language translation, but it's definitely nicer than Ardor 1's compromise. I'd planned on a more elaborate 3D environment featuring the player character pondering their deck, but it turns out I need all the screen space for showing the cards and menu UI. This is good enough for now, and I'm pleased with the number upgrade effects. A literal Pavlovian ding sound to make something feel good is a little on the nose, but if it works, it works. There's still a lot of basic necessities the game lacks, like a start menu or character select, but I think I'm pivoting to focusing on enemy creation now. Enemies and bosses comprise the actual content of the game, and it needs a lot of them. I need to save some programming tasks like controller support, so I can do them later as a break from work I find harder, like creating visual effects for enemy attacks. Every game's creation has low points where developing feels like a slog and you just have to push through, but I have yet to reach that point. I'm pleased with how the game is coming together, and that really helps to keep yourself motivated. Next video, I plan on having several levels done along with the first boss fight. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.